Today, I have one simple message for you. Don't paint perfect watercolors. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly my process for painting simple, direct, straightforward paintings that avoid overwork at all costs. Your painting will not be overworked. So this is my warning to you. Keep watching if you want to paint fresh watercolors. Later on, by the way, you can bring polish into it and paint something that's a little more detailed, a little more refined, but the first step is to let go. So let me show you. And by the way, if you want to join me every week for a live demo, ask your questions, get answers, learn directly from me every week, be sure to check out the Watercolor Breakthrough Club. I'm going to put a link below. You'll also be able to join the community on Discord, share your work, get feedback, get my feedback, get others' feedback. I hope to see you there. First link in the description box. I'm painting this background and I'm going in pretty wet just to get the flow. One decision I made right from the beginning of this process is I'm going to make things lighter. I am not committing to painting things as dark as they appear in the reference photo. Why? Because that will allow me to enhance my flow. When you have a wetter wash, you get better flow, you get less overwork, it just looks better, and watercolor is perfect for that. But when you try to follow the values you're seeing exactly to the T, which nothing wrong with that, you can get beautiful results. In fact, you can get realistic and hyper-realistic results, but it does limit flow. So forget for a second about perfection and accuracy. Just focus on putting paint to paper with the best flow you can. And look at this. I'm kind of struggling, quote unquote, against the paper's texture. And the solution is more water, more flow, and sometimes a little more pressure with the brush. You could also pre-wet the paper and it will solve it for you as well. But I love doing this way of things. I love painting wet on dry paper. I don't know why. I just love it. It lets you use the paper's texture. It feels more organic and raw to me. And look at how beautifully the blue kind of spread out into the darker blue and then transitions into the black. Now, of course, the key feature here is going to be the cars. But if you're not a car fan, don't worry, because the most important feature here is not actually the cars themselves, but the contrast of shapes and values. What we're looking for is interesting contrasts, and the very most interesting contrast occurs when the dark backdrop reaches that top light part of the car, and even better when that background merges with the dark part of the car. Okay, and you're gonna see this in a moment. Now, when you look at this painting, right, is this rocket science? No. Is it perfect? No. Is it graceful? Not necessarily. I would argue it is because it's watercolor. It's always graceful, but can you do exactly what I'm doing right now? The answer is yes. I've had my shapes. I had a very basic sketch, and I'm simply filling in the shapes. And notice what takes precedence here. Not the specific details, not the fence in the background or the tree line or whatever, the wall or these recycle bins. None of that takes precedence. What takes precedence is simply the big shapes. That's all I care about, the big shapes. And you're going to see, look at how I'm fixing the shape, because that's what matters. I'm dipping directly from the background onto the windshield because all I care about is the big shapes. In fact, I'm going to continue this wash to the side of the car and create the light area separating background from the car, but for the darks, I'm just going to merge them together. Look at where the blue and the red to the right meet, and they're going to meet there. There's no problem with that. Let it flow. One thing I'm doing while working this way is I'm varying my wash. How? I'm using the exact same pool of paints, but sometimes I'm introducing a bit of blue. Sometimes I'm introducing a bit of yellow. Sometimes a bit of red. The key is to never let one color be too dominant unless you do that deliberately. If you do that deliberately and you see a strong color and you want to showcase that, that's perfectly fine. Do whatever you want. Follow your own freedom. But when you're always having the color only 70% dominant, you end up with a far more pleasing color harmony and nothing stands out too much. You can then later, by the way, decide if you want to increase the saturation of a specific color. Now, I did something fun here. I'm adding a bit of white to my mixture because I want the hood of the engine thing, the front of the car, to be a little light. In fact, using white watercolor or even white gouache can be an excellent tool for achieving interesting colors, interesting diversity of values and of effects too, because you're painting almost wet in wet or wet next to wet with light paint that is also opaque. So it gives it some interesting variety. It makes it a little more interesting, okay? So give it a try, just experiment. You don't have to do it, but experiment with it. Now, while this is wet, of course, we're making the most out of it. I'm coming back with some more darker, stronger paint to get some wet and wet details to make sure the shadow seamlessly and loosely blends into the car. Now, make sure you understand that you're seeing a kind of squeezed version of the painting because the paper is at an angle. Later on, I'm going to remove that tape roll and we're going to let it lie flatter and you'll see the shapes a little better. You're seeing a bit of a skewed version of the painting, and that is perfectly fine. If you want, by the way, use my sketch. Very simple, very straightforward. Just barely any details there. You see, I'm varying the temperature from cool to warm, from purple to yellow. That helps me also create not just, a variety of colors, but also a sense of light and shadow, because these colors do represent how light reflects off of the environment. So the fact I'm starting with a cool and then moving a bit to a warm hints that perhaps there is some reflected light from the ground or from another light element that reflects back onto the car and changes its values. Here's a bit more opaque paint for you, just for the fun windshield there. I really like this look. You'll barely see it because the video is a little over exposed, but don't worry, it's going to fix itself in a moment when we add a bit more color to it. And when the painting will lie flat, you'll see these details a little more clearly. Okay, now the most important element that we're going to tackle next is actually the ground. The ground is really key here because we want to show the context of light, and to make the light feel light, we need to get rid of anything that shouldn't be light. So I'm gonna mix a very, very pale wash here. There are a few reasons for that. One, I don't want to go too dark here at any cost because this will kill the sense of light and shadow. And two, ironically enough, this very soft kind of watery wash will make sure we're not changing the shadows on the ground too much. We're not shifting them too much. I did a bit of a wet and wet there to darken the bottom. But yeah, this light wash, funny enough, it won't influence what you're seeing too badly. If you go a little more heavy-handed, you might run the risk of really breaking the overall impression and composition. Now, by the way, sorry about the light on my hand. I don't know why the light decided to come out as soon as I filmed direct sunlight. I know it skews the colors a bit. I will show you a final scan, though, towards the end. Also, I really, really love that top left corner, and I think it does a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to the looseness and kind of the overall feel of the scene. I like, and I actually taught this in one of the club's live streams, leave some area smooth and soft. Whatever it is, just make sure some smoothness and softness lasts all the way to the end of the painting. Don't get rid of it. It's the magic of watercolor. For example, the car on the left, I'm going to add some definition to it. I'm going to add some darks. I'm going to make the shadows a little more accentuated. And by doing that, I am going to lose some of the smoothness and softness of transitions. So to counterbalance that, and with the understanding that the more details you add, you will lose some of that looseness, keep an area flowing all the way till the end. And this is 100% that top left corner. That's the role it plays here. You want to have that section. Trust me, it adds so much beauty. If it's a landscape, it might be a mountain in the distance, or a tree line, or the horizon line. If it's a cityscape, have some elements that are a little more vague. And in this example, it's that top left corner. Look at how well it balances with the more literal and specific details. Now, I'm going to go back to the essence of this video, the reason why I filmed it, the reason why I'm showing it to you this way. Because again, you can paint more accurate, you can paint more detailed, you can do something that's more polished. I want to show you watercolor in its most accessible form. Can you do what I'm showing you right now on the screen? The answer is yes, you can. You can take a piece of paper and do it right now. If you've been for years painting very rigid and very stifled, just who are you doing this for? Life is too short. Just paint the way you want to paint. Who are you doing favors to? Who are you trying to please? Just go at it the way you want to. You only have one life as far as we know. It's going to end at some point. Just paint how you want. Forget about accuracy. Forget about beauty. Forget about correctness. It doesn't matter. All of these things are illusions. The only thing you really have is your instinct, your intuition, your desire, the way you want to paint. Like, how obvious is it, but how much we need to remind ourselves that. Just paint the way you want. The result will reveal itself. And over the long run, your success trajectory will also reveal itself. Over the long run, you will get to where you want to be. Over the long run. It's not a one painting process. It's a 100 paintings process. So maybe you won't see the improvement in a month, in 2 months, in 6 months, in 12 months. But you know what? If you look back 2 years after you've embraced that complete freedom and after you've just started doing this for yourself, I bet you will see a difference. Just look at a long enough time horizon. That's it. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I'm going to add some of those recycle bins in the distance. Just an orange one and then a dark blue one, just to give a bit more anchor, something for the viewer to look at. But honestly, this one's done. You are seeing a bit of an overexposed version, so as soon as I'm done signing this, I will show you the final scanned result. It'll be a little more balanced, it'll make a little more sense, and most importantly, anyone can paint this way. Maybe not your first, maybe not your 10th painting. You can paint this way. And if the subject matter, here's the final result, if the subject matter speaks to you, if it truly inspires you, you can reach much far better and more polished results. That's the game, knowing what inspires you. That's what it's all about. I hope that makes sense. I want to thank you for watching. I do want to remind you to check out the Watercolor Breakthrough Club. That's your way to learn more directly from me, to gain access to the live weekly demos. Every week we meet and we have a live demo or a live session where I talk about a concept or a technique or an idea, and you will learn a lot from it. So be sure to check that out. My life is as busy as it's ever been. It's busier than ever. It really is. So I really consolidate my work to this weekly video and this weekly live stream on the club. So if you want to get basically access to that and the community and a whole bunch of just absolute peak resource to improve your watercolors and to find that freedom you're looking for, check it out. Lastly, I want to send huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you want to receive credits at the end of the videos, that's how you do that. Check it out. I will put a link in the description box as well. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.